I think first of all, I'm really happy for our seniors. You know, this was something that we wanted for them to have the lasting memory of their last time in DKR of getting a win, and being able to celebrate and being able to sing the fight song in the locker room, being able to do the things that you enjoy doing as a college football player. So I'm very happy for them. Like I've talked about at length this week, just about the commitment they've made to the university, to this program. So for them to go out like that, happy for them. From a football standpoint, this was a kind of a grinded out game, and I felt like the complementary piece to the game was going to be important, that the vertical field position would be important. We knew they had a dynamic return game, which showed up. But in the end, defensively to shut them out in the second half, our ability to get off the field on third down, and then ultimately those last two fourth down stops were huge plays for us. And then, our ability to run the ball. Roschon Johnson was a warrior today. Clearly there was a few different wrinkles, wildcat, and different things going on to try to offset some of the situations that we were in. And I'm happy for the guys. We've been through a lot, like I've talked about this year, and some really tough losses, and those tough losses kind of mount on top of one another. And, I've been saying all along, our guys haven't quit. They keep fighting. They keep staying in it. And I think this is a perfect example. We often look to the result of the game to tell us, if a team is trying hard or not. And, I kept trying to stand here and say, our guys are practicing hard. They're trying hard. They're working hard. We just weren't getting the result we were looking for. And today we got the result. And it was happy for the team, happy for the guys, because they continue to battle through this thing, and inevitably we got the win.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go ahead and start with Brian in the middle.
Yeah, Steve, obviously Roschon was a beast today. But can you go back to earlier in the week? When did you know that, hey, need to do some wildcat, Ro's going to be the guy, and this is kind of the game plan for him?
I had a pretty good feeling flying back from Morgantown. We knew how that game ended from a quarterback situation. I didn't know which quarterback and if one or both of them would be available to us. Casey, kind of got back in the fold a little quicker. Hudson wasn't able to. And we just felt like we had to have kind of contingency plans available even if Casey was available, knock on wood, if he were to re-injure that thumb, what were we going to do? So we had to invest some real time in the wildcat stuff. And then Casey was able to play, but we had already invested that time in it early in the week on a short week. So those were the plays we were running, and it was pretty effective.
We had asked earlier this year just about who the leader was in the locker room, and Roschon's name came up over and over. Sometimes do you need it to be a guy that can do this and show this? Obviously, he's playing behind Bijan all year, but do you need to, sometimes does it help to have this happen, 31 carries, 179 yards, for everybody to really get that?
I think it's helpful. I would say to a man, I don't know if anybody in that locker room, every guy in that locker room respects number two. And I don't think today was needed for that to happen. But I do think it's helpful. He's a warrior, but he also stands true to what he believes in. And whether it's standing up in the locker room and demanding more of others, but then, like I've said before, the only way he knows how to demand more of others is to give more of himself. And I think today was a prime example of he knew what it was like going into this game. And mind you, the guy's not 100%. He's still dealing with a toe issue that's been going on. He was an emergency player 2 weeks ago. Today carries the ball, 31 times. So just I think in the end, if you didn't respect him, I think you respect him now. But I'd be hard pressed to think there wasn't any guy in that locker room that didn't respect number two.
John, go ahead.
Coach, you always talk about their effort, and the effort seemed to pick up in the second half. How do you become more consistent with that, and what do you work on to get guys? Because there were some plays where the effort was kind of missing in the first half.
One of the ways you do it is you make changes in personnel, and we had to do that in the first half. The effort, to your point, wasn't exactly where we wanted it at a couple spots. we played other players. And the beauty of having a roster to where you have real competition at every position, at that point, then you can't afford a lack of effort or the next guy is going to go in. And that's where we got to get ourselves to.
As a first-year coach, Steve, how big is snapping that losing streak? And is this something truly to build on, or is it a momentary salve?
I think there's validity to your question, you know. I think we needed to snap that losing streak. You know, it was heavy. You know, it was heavy. It was a lot on everybody in the organization from the top down. You know, and as gut-wrenching as some of those games were, and for whatever reason why we lost those leads and couldn't sustain, I think for our psyche in general, we needed to kind of prove it to ourselves that we could finish a game in the fourth quarter again. So from that aspect of it, I think it was big. But in the end, you know, we've got enough things that because of the losing streak, I was able to get a lot of clarity on a lot of things that are issues in our program that we need to get better at, that we need to improve upon. And so, yes, this is a good moment and a great moment for us now, and I think something that we needed going into the offseason to know that we're capable of doing. But there's still plenty for us to work on here as we move forward.
Coach, from a mathematical standpoint, at 5-7, there's still a chance you could go to a bowl game if given the opportunity. Is that something that you would consider? Would you want to be able to do that, or are you too banged up? Just kind of your thought process.
Yeah, I mean, I think one, I'm not big on the hypotheticals, as you guys know, but I get it. You know, we'll figure that out if we get that bridge to cross. You know, clearly we're a banged up football team right now. We'll see where we're at. We'll see what the opportunities are. There's nothing like playing another game. We love the game of football. There's nothing like it, but we'll figure that out if that presents itself.
Two for you, Sark. I'm curious what you think of Jalen Ford's play today, and also with the success the Wildcat had, is that something you considered at any other point during the year of using more of? I know you used it in scenarios, but did you ever think at any point of the year using it a little bit more often since it had so much success today?
I thought Jalen played well. I mean, he obviously had the really nice big hit there at one point there, and I think it was the third quarter. You know, from experience, I think that he's finding his way more and more. Obviously, I have to look at the tape and see what it was. And, you know, we went into this game without our two starting inside linebackers, you know, without Brockemeyer, without Demo. And so other guys got opportunities, and Jalen was obviously one of those. So happy for him. Hopefully there's things for him to build on moving forward. The Wildcat is an interesting component, you know. I've never been one to kind of major in it, you know, where you know you're going to snap the ball in Wildcat 5 to 10 times a game. It's always been kind of a, you know, change up for us. But Roshan is very comfortable doing it, you know, and it's like anything when you're installing a system and then you're trying to figure out the strengths of your team and where you're at. I do think it's something that we can kind of hold on to for our future, and it become more of a real part of our system, of our offense, and because he's so comfortable at it, and he has the capability of throwing the ball, and so I would imagine moving forward, it's going to have a pretty integral part of what we do.
Hey Steve, what do you think changed in the defense in the second half from the first half? And is there any one player whose play on the defense stood out to you tonight?
You know, that really in the first half, they have one drive that they score on, and the other one was one play on the quarterback run where I didn't love our effort by a couple of our players, quite candidly. And, you know, I think we got the kind of the right guys in there that were playing hard. And I think that we played better at the point of attack, one at the line of scrimmage, and two on the perimeter. You know, I felt there were times in the first half where we weren't great on the perimeter, on the bubble screens and the quick screens, where we got blocked. In the second half, we were able to get off those blocks, and we were able to kind of control the line of scrimmage a little bit more, and balls weren't spitting to the secondary level. The tackles were being made by defensive linemen and linebackers, and safeties weren't having to make so many tackles. So I think the line of scrimmage got better at the point of attack, and then I think the perimeter game got better. Any balls that got spit out there, the guys played better.
Steve, you had two obviously big fourth down stops by two of your upperclassmen. How banged up were Keandre and Morrow, and what did you think of those stops by them?
You know, both guys got stingers, which are those aren't fun because you imagine getting that from your neck down and the arm feeling numb and all that, and it's painful. But I think it tells you something that they're back in there fighting and back in there making plays at critical moments. Those guys have been steady players for us, and obviously we all want more out of every guy we have, and that's our job to push them to strive for more. But to see them make those plays, I think that's what they're capable of, and so for it to show up the way that it did, that's exciting. That's exciting moving forward.
Coach, obviously you don't want to discuss like injuries and tip-off opponents, but now the season's over. Can you talk a little bit more about Casey and really the severity of that thumb injury? He's talked about not being able to grip the ball at times. And the second part of it is, will Hudson require surgery after the season? Yeah,
So Casey, it was a pretty significant thumb sprain. There wasn't anything broken. There wasn't ligament damage, but it was swollen. It's hard to grip the ball. It's on your throwing hand. That's difficult. And so, hopefully he can get healthy on that front. Hudson has a high ankle sprain. I don't think it'll require surgery, but high ankle sprains aren't fun. They take time to heal. I think he'll heal great. So those two are critical.
Coach Sarkisian, what a positive way to end that chapter one. So I noticed after you guys sang "The Eyes of Texas," your boss met you in the end zone. Can you share some of the things that he might have said to you?
I just think, in the end, CDC has been a great supporter of mine, and he, hired me to come here to do a job. I feel his support. I feel his belief in what we're doing and in the path that we're on. But like anything, when we're going through the losing streak that we were on, that's heavy on him too. It's just as much as it's heavy on me and our team. And so to find a way to win this one, and again, that doesn't discount the way the previous games went, but I think it's okay to smile. We won a football game today, and it's okay to smile and be happy for our players and our fans and everybody involved to win a ball game at home. We only get 6 of these at home in DKR a year, so to win this one was a cool moment.
Time for a few last ones. On the left, Jeff.
Sark, just to kind of reiterate something you talked about on Monday, guys that did or didn't participate in the senior day stuff that still have a year of eligibility, should we take it one way or the other, whether those decisions are final, and what do just the next couple of weeks look like from the standpoint of having conversations with guys on whether they want to come back or move on?
Yeah, I don't, I think the safe thing to do for everybody was to kind of walk today, right? I'll meet with all our guys individually as we move forward, starting Monday and Tuesday, and clearly that, there's a balancing act there because they've got a lot of recruiting to do over the next 2 weeks as well. But just making sure that we're on the same page with the players, what their future looks like, and we'll go from there.
Tight ends really seem to figure in strong in your game plan today. And do you feel like you're building on that and you see that being a big component in the future?
I think so. Again, it's you're navigating through a season and trying to play to your strengths. And those two guys have been playing better and better as the year's gone on. And to find their opportunities in this game, I think was big. The run game clearly has been big for us, but to find their opportunities in the passing game, that's a positive. And it's like anything. We want the more things we can do really well, in my opinion, the harder we are to defend. And so whether it's Wildcat, whether it's incorporating the tight ends in the passing game more, to add to the other things that we do, hopefully that makes us tougher to defend.
Two quick ones. One, Coach, do you expect anyone, or can you say if anyone's going to have off-season surgery yet? For anything?
I don't know yet. That I probably wouldn't be fair of me to say right now.
And then secondly, you've talked a lot this season about the psychology of all of this. And I wonder just what is kind of going through your mind as you're seeing those faces in the room and the relief, I guess, maybe, that everyone feels, and just the psychological importance of finishing on an uptick.
I don't know if there was an old deal on the Wide World of Sports, And I can't remember the phrase exactly, but it had something to do with the agony of defeat and the thrill of victory, I believe. So everybody loves the thrill of victory, right? It's the life of a competitor. You get into this thing because you love it, and then there's nothing like winning. But there is also nothing like the agony of defeat. And sometimes you can learn a lot from defeat about character. Sometimes you can learn a lot about in defeat about perseverance. But there is nothing like the thrill of victory. And I do this because I get to be a leader of men, and I get to stand before these guys in the same chairs you're sitting in. And there's been some tough Monday mornings. And so, when we're recapping a ball game, and so for them to have a moment, and for our seniors, a lasting moment that they can carry with them, they deserve it because, as tough as it's been over the last couple months, to have a last ball game go like that for them, and some veteran players make some plays in this game, Cade Brewer catch a touchdown and things of that nature, that's awesome. I do take that in, and it matters to me that they have that moment because they've been good to this university and they've been good to this program.
Two last ones, far left, Chip.
Steve, was it fitting that Roshan Johnson, who's sort of universally declared by all your players as a team leader, had the kind of day he had, especially in the fourth quarter, 11 carries? And what does he mean to the mindset culture coming back next year?
Well, I think one of the keys is I'd love to have 100 Roshan Johnsons, mentality-wise, effort-wise, commitment-wise, discipline-wise, mental and physical toughness-wise. And hopefully, he serves as a model for our other players of what it looks like. And not just what it looks like on the field in game, but what it looks like on a daily basis to get himself to that point to where he can earn that respect from the coaches and from his teammates. And, he deserves all this. I mean, that guy's a stud, man. He's a warrior. And, I think moving into this offseason, I don't think there's ever going to be a question when he stands up and has something to say. I think the guys are going to listen.
Hey, Coach, now that your first season as head coach has come to an end, if you could describe it with one word, what would you use?
Roller coaster.